Hello everyone, welcome to the online class. It's good to see you again. Uh, Today we are going to discuss about serial communication. So I'm sure you heard about this name. So before going that, I need to uh, give some few points about the communication. So what is meant by communication exactly? Why we need communication? Communication means whenever if you want to exchange the data between two or more devices, okay, then we need to use communication, right? Now if any interviewer asks you a question, okay, so whenever if you go and go into an interview and he will ask you what is my communication, now you will reply that the communication, or if you are using communication to wants exchange of the data between two or more devices, okay, that's fine. Now the interviewer will ask you what are the different types of communication. So what you are going to reply to him or her? There are different types of communications. So you know that there is analog communication, digital communication, okay. Apart from this, there is wireless communication, wired communication. Apart from this, serial communication, parallel communication, okay. You need to say about these three things whenever the interviewer asks you what are the different types of communication. If you say like analog communication, digital communication, so he will show you the door, so there is a door, please go away from my company, okay. So now you need to just I will give you the basics of the not these different types of communication. Coming to the analog communication, digital communication, you know that analog communication deals with the analog signals, digital communication deals with the digital signals. Which is the most useful one? Both, okay. Why both? Because if you take the world around you, so the temperature of your from the sun, okay, and if you take the air humidity, air pressure, okay, all these things are nothing but in the analog form. Now if you want to process the analog signal, if you want to store the analog signal, can it be possible? It is possible, but it is very difficult to store and process that data, okay. Analog signal processing and storing is difficult. That's why we switch it to digital communication. So digital communication, the data will be processed and storage in the forms of ones and zeros. So who will process that data? Computers, processors, okay. That means the processor can able to understand the digital values. That's why we converted that analog signals to digital signal. I'm sure now we are talking about I am discussing one thing. That means you are hearing my voice, so my voice is in the analog form. Now you are hearing in your device. That means I'm having my laptop. From my laptop, the my laptop got processed my analog data into digital one, and it is transmitted over the internet. And again it is the same, the digital communication, digital values is transmitted to in the analog form. Now you are going to listen those words, okay, what I'm saying. See, this is nothing but your analog communication, digital communication. Now coming to another type of communication is wired communication and wireless communication. So you know the difference between wired and wireless. So in wired communication we will use one physical medium to send the data between two or more devices, like your coaxial cable, optical fiber, etc. And if you take wireless communication, you are using the radio signals. So in order to transmit the data without having any wires, you will use the radio signals. You can able to transmit the data between two or more devices, okay. So this is your wired communication or wireless communication. And coming to the next communication, next type of communication is serial communication, parallel communication. Now we are interested in only serial communication, not parallel communication. Why? So why means you need to know about the serial communication, what is the advantage, and you need to know that what is the drawback of the parallel communication, okay. I'm sure you can able to see these two figures, okay, here. And these two figures is telling that serial communication and parallel communication, okay. Now in serial communication, what is the serial communication? So there is a sender, there is a receiver, that means transmitter and receiver, and we are having only one wire to transfer the data, okay. One wire to transfer the data from transmitter to receiver, that is your sender to receiver. That is your serial communication, only one wire. And in case of parallel communication, we are using 8 different wires to transfer the data. Now you tell me, which is faster communication, faster way of transferring the data? Parallel communication. Why? Because we are here having 8 lines of 8 lines are there, and with the help of 8 lines I can able to transfer 8 bits at a time, right? Whereas here in serial communication I can able to only transfer 1 bit per second, I mean 1 bit at a time, okay. That means in 1 second in parallel communication I can transfer whole 8 bits, and I can able to transfer in the serial communication only 1 bit per second. So which is the faster? Parallel communication. Now what is the drawback of the parallel communication? Suppose if you use this parallel communication to transfer the data for long distance, is it easy to transfer the data? Easy, but it is very difficult to maintain, and also it becomes expensive. Okay, so maintaining that means the cost of one wire is less, or cost of 8 wires is less. Obviously the cost of one wire is less. That means your parallel communication is not cost effective, okay, for long distance communication. That's why for long distance communication we will use the serial communication. So in serial communication, we will use only single wire to transfer the data. So you are seeing that you are watching your serials in your TV. Why they have named as serials, not parallels? Why? Because the serials will become for long period of time. That's why they named it as a serials. Okay, serial communication. Okay. Apart from jokes, we will go into the topic. Now we understood, right, what is the advantage of the serial communication. So to transfer the data for long distance, we will use the serial communication because it is not costly. That means it is cost effective, and also it is also easy to maintain. Okay, that is the only advantage of your serial communication. Okay, now whenever if you see the communication means we are exchanging the data information, exchanging information or data, right? So while exchanging the information, we are sending the data, right? Now whenever we are sending the data, we can able to send the data in different modes. Okay, so that modes we need to understand what are these modes is simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Okay, I'm not talking about the houses you are having, half duplex or full duplex houses. So I'm talking about the data transmission modes. So please don't divert from the topic. Okay, now you know the simplex communication. You know simplex means it is one-way communication. So one-way communication, the best example is your megaphone. Also right now I am speaking and you are just listening, right? This is one-way communication. And similarly, whenever if you take the megaphone or mic, okay, you are talking one way. Okay, the other person cannot able to talk to you. Okay, that is your simplex, only one way of transmission or only one way of reception. That is your simplex communication. And next one is half duplex. Okay, half duplex means you can transmit the data, you can receive the data. Okay, you can transmit the data, you can receive the data, but only one at a time. I'm sure in your during your childhood days you can you have built one system. So with the help of matchboxes, whenever if you speak within one end, the other person can able to receive. Okay, now the other person will talk, you can able to hear, right? Now you can able to see this figure, right? So this is your half duplex communication. That means only one person can able to do one operation, either transmission or reception. Okay, both cannot be done in the half duplex communication transmission mode. And whereas coming to the full duplex, so in full duplex we can able to transmit as well as receive parallelly. Okay, so the best example is your mobile phones. So whenever if you are talking to each other, you can able to use your mobile phone so that the other person can able to listen as well as he can talk, right? So this is your data transmission modes. So if you take the real life example, so there is a building or industry, and there is some incident happened. So in yesterday, if you see the Vizag plant, LPG polymers have got gas leakage in that. So there is no alarm happened. Due to that one, many people are died, many people didn't aware about that one. Okay, so in order to make it as a awareness, to create the awareness if there's something happened, so there will be some alarm. Now that industry is connected to your fire station or any station, okay, some station. Now whenever there is an alarm, immediately the data will be transmitted to your fire station. Okay, that is your simple mode, simplex. That means only one way of transmission. If you take the half duplex, so you know walkie talkie, right? So in walkie talkie, both persons cannot able to speak. So whenever they will speak some word, after that he will say that over. Okay, over means he is telling that I am my talking is done. Okay, now you can able to talk. Okay, that is your half duplex. Okay, and the next one is full duplex. I'm sure you know have computers with you, so computers can able to computers can able to interact each other, and that means it can able to send or receive the information. You're having mobile phones, you can able to exchange the information in the chat boxes, etc. Okay, all these are nothing but your full duplex communication. Now you understood, right? So what are the different various data transmission modes in the serial communication? Okay. Now we are talking about serial communication. We are interested in serial communication. Why? Because we want to send the data for a long distance. Okay. Now, why I am talking about the serial communication? Because I am talking about the 8051 microcontroller serial port. Okay. I'm sure you have seen this diagram somewhere, right? So during the discussion of pin diagram of your 8051 microcontroller, so this is your pin diagram. In that pin diagram, you can able to see there is a TXD RXD, that is nothing but the serial port pins. Okay. Now I will remove all this crap away and I will put only the serial port for you. Now you see the serial port. Now I have given all the IO ports also along with this. Why? Because if you take the port 3, I'm sure you know that there are 4 ports. The port 0, port 1, port 2 and port 3. And in the port 3, the first 2 pins, that is port 3.0 and port 3.1 is dedicatedly given to the serial port pins. That is your transmission signal and reception signal. Okay. Now we will see the what is meant by a serial port. So serial port means it will uses only one way of it will able to send the information in the only one wire, used by using only one wire to transmit the data or using one wire to reception the data. That's why we are having 2 different wires to transmit and receive. Okay. Now we will see the features of some features of your serial port, and by looking at these features, don't be felt difficult, because I am going to explain these features in a one logical manner. So first I will explain the first 2 features. Okay, later I will explain the next 2 features, then the last I will explain in the next class. Okay, so now we will see the one of the feature is it is 8051 is a high speed full duplex software programmable serial port. So I am sure you know the serial port, which means it can able to send the data over serially. That means it is using one wire to transmit the data or one wire to receive the data. Okay. And what is a data transmission mode? It is using full duplex. That means parallel it can able to transmit, parallelly it can able to receive. Okay. And it is also high speed. We can able to send the data in different speeds. Okay. And the data is received serially through the RxD line. So I'm sure you know that there are 2 lines. One is RxD and TXD. In RxD line, we are going to receive the data by using TXD. I will able to transmit the data. Okay. So these are the 2 points I am going to discuss now. And after that, I will discuss the next 2 points. After that, I will discuss the next point. Okay. Now we'll discuss the first 2 points. So before discussing these 2 points, you need to understand there are different types of serial communication. I'm not talking about the different types of communication. I am talking about the different types of serial communication. So what are the different types of serial communication is? One is asynchronous, another one is synchronous. So I'm sure you know this, you have heard about these names somewhere, okay, during your previous semester or this semester subjects. And if you know this, please keep updating your knowledge in your brain. So if you don't know, please concentrate on it. Okay. Now we will see what is meant by asynchronous and synchronous. So what is the difference? Please don't tell me that so there is no A in the synchronous and there is a in the synchronous. Asynchronous serial communication. Please don't do such kind of jokes to me. Okay. Okay. Now coming to the synchronous serial communication. So synchronous serial communication. So I am talking about the serial communication. That means our serial port. So I am sure you know that there is a serial port. That means which is having RX and TX, RxD and TXD. Simply I am taking RX and TX as a names. Okay. So TX means transmission pin and RX is nothing but receiver pin. Okay. Now whenever if you want to transmit the data, there should be another device. So obviously there should be another device. Without the device, how can you transmit or receive the data, right? So that's why we are having 2 devices. Another one, it is having TX and RX. Now if you observe closely, so TX is connected to RX and RX, actually this TX is connected to this RX one. Okay, RX of the device one. Why actually the TX has to be connected TX and RX has to be connected RX? No, obviously no, right? So during the transmission, the other device has to be received. When the device 2 is transmission, the device 1 has to be received, right? So this is key, we can able to understand this one. That's why we are connected the transmission pin of the device 1 is connected to the reception pin of your device 2. Okay, vice versa of your next one. Okay, now we will see the synchronous serial communication. So whenever if you want to transfer the data, so transfer the data means I am using this TX and this RX. So device 1 TX and device 2 RX I am using, right? Now I want to transfer a data. Okay, so there is a data called A. Okay, I want to transfer A. You know A character, right? Now if you want to transfer this data A, okay, how I can able to transfer the data? I cannot simply put that character in that transmission line. So we are talking about the digital, so ones and zeros. Now I need to convert this A into ones and zeros. How to convert? So there is a option. What is that option? There is a option to convert that character into digital form. So that is called your ASCII values. Okay, so each and every character has some ASCII values. For capital A, the ASCII value is 41. Now can you send 41 to this transmission line? Again, no. Why? Because it is in the decimal form. That's why you need to convert this decimal form into binary representation. That is your hexadecimal representation. Now you can able to see the 4 and 1, that is your 41, 4 and 1. So 0100 0001. This is your 41, which is converted into hexadecimal. Now you want to transfer this data. This is 1 byte of data, right? Now you want to transfer this data. How to transfer the data? First, I will send the data from the LSB, not from MSB. I'm sure you know what is meant by LSB, what is meant by MSB. The rightmost part of your byte is called LSB, and the leftmost part of your byte is called MSB, right? Now you will start transferring the data from LSB onwards, any byte of transmission, right? Now, before that, whenever if you want to transmit the data or receive the data in synchronous serial communication, in synchronous means each and every device should consist of clocks. So what is meant by clock? It will just generate the clock pulses. Okay, why I need to generate the, why the devices has to generate the clock pulses means, so whenever the device 1 starts data transmission to the device 2, the device 2 has to know on which clock pulse I need to receive the data. Okay, the device 1, what it will telling is, so I'm sending the data on 1 clock pulse, you will receive the data on the same clock pulse. That means with the help of clock pulses, I am able to achieve the synchronization. That means I am maintaining the same speed. Okay, understood, right? So that's why we need clocks for each and every device. If you take any serial communication devices, there should be some oscillator which will provide the clock pulses. Okay, now I understood, right, why we need clocks. Now you want to send the data, this is your A, you want to send that A, that is your 41. Now you will start transferring the data from 1. Okay, now whenever if you want to send the 1, I need some 1 clock pulse. So on the first clock pulse, I am sending the 1. Okay, on the next clock pulse, I will send the next digit, that is your 0. On the next clock pulse, I will send the next digit, and the next clock pulse, I will send another digit. Similarly, I will send the digits like this. Okay, that means how many clock pulses are needed to transfer the 8 bits, 8 clock pulses, right? Now the same clock, so whatever the device 1 using the same clock will be shared by the device 2. Okay, I am repeating this point again. Whatever the clock source, okay, which is having the device 1, the same clock is shared by the device 2. Whenever these devices are sharing the same clock, that is called synchronous serial communication. Okay, whenever the two devices are sharing the same clock source, then we are calling it as a synchronous serial communication. Understood this much? Okay, now we have understood the synchronous serial communication. Now we need to see the asynchronous serial communication. Now what is asynchronous serial communication? Earlier we have seen the device 1 is having the clock source, only clock source. That same device 1 is sharing the clock to the device 2. That is the actual synchronous serial communication. Whereas in asynchronous serial communication, device 1 has its own clock source, and also the device 2 has also individual clock source. That means it is having different clock source, it is also having different clock source. When these two devices are having different clock source, there will be a problem. What is that problem? If you take in the synchronous serial communication, on the first clock pulse, I am sending the first bit. On the second clock pulse, I am sending the second bit. That means there is understanding between these two devices because it is sharing the same clock source. But here in asynchronous serial communication, what will happen? The same devices are not sharing the common clock source. It is having individual clock sources. Now, what is the problem? So individual clock sources means this device 1 is sending the data in its clock pulses. That device 2 is receiving the data in its clock pulses. That means there is no understanding between these two devices. Okay, that means the device one is transferring 1 byte of data, device 2 is receiving this 1 byte of data, but it won't identify what is the starting of the data, what is the ending of the data, right? That's why, so that's why we are using two additional bits to understand the device 2. So these two bits are called start bit and this is called stop bit. Okay, the 0, this is called start bit and this is called end bit or stop bit. So what is that start bit or end bit in, I mean stop bit indicates this is the starting byte of your data, okay, and this is the ending byte of your data. Okay, actually what is the data? This is 8 bytes. Now this is the starting of your data and this is the ending of the data. Now if you take any serial communication or any asynchronous serial communication, always the start bit is 0, always the stop bit is 1. Okay, remember this point, it is universal. Okay, if you take any country, it is following the same. Now I understood, right, what is meant by asynchronous serial communication. In asynchronous serial communication, each and every device has its own clock source. It is not sharing its clock sources by the other devices. So whenever the two devices are having its same clock source, you need to tell that devices, so I want to transfer the data, and you need to have the start and stop bits. Okay, so this is your asynchronous serial communication. In some of the students will say, so when in asynchronous serial communication, devices will not operate in the different frequency, will operate in different frequencies. In synchronous serial communication, it is operating in the same frequency. It is wrong. That answer is wrong. So same frequency means same speed. Okay, obviously the two devices has to be operating in the same speed. Why? Because if you are not operating in the same speed, the devices won't receive the correct data, right? So please don't answer like that. So that means asynchronous serial communication has different clock sources and synchronous has same clock source shared by all the devices. Okay, this is the difference between asynchronous and synchronous serial communication. Now I understood, right? Now synchronous serial communication, simply it is sending the data in the form of bytes. So there is no starting byte, there is no starting bit and there is no ending bit in the synchronous serial communication. Why? Because the same clock source of the sender and receiver using the same. All right, that's why there is no because there is understanding between these two devices. But whereas in asynchronous serial communication, you have to tell that other device, I am sending the data, this is the starting of my data and this is the ending of my data. Okay, so this is your start bit and this is your stop bit. Okay, with the help of these bits, I am going to indicate the starting byte of the data and ending byte of the data, right? Now whenever if you are using these two bits, we are calling it as UART. Now you tell me, you know the abbreviation, universal asynchronous receiver transmitter. The name itself indicates asynchronous. That means it is supporting asynchronous serial communication and also universal. So universal means it is universally acceptable. That means if you take any country, not only India, America, Europe, etc., all these countries will follow the same rule. That means the start bit is always 0 and stop bit is always 1. That's why they name it as universal asynchronous receiver transmitter. Receiver transmitter means we are sending or receiving the data, right? So this is your asynchronous serial communication. Okay, now you understood the first 2 points, right? So it is a high speed. I am not discussed about high speed, but I have discussed about full duplex and also programmable serial code. Okay, and we are going to send the data between using the transmission lines and reception lines. Now we are going to see the next 2 points, that is your SBUF and SCON. So this is actually the start topic of your serial communication or serial port will start now. Okay, please keep concentrating. Coming to the next point, I'm sure you know this your microcontroller. Okay, the microcontroller consists of your microprocessor. Okay, along this microprocessor we are discussing about serial port, right? Now okay, there is a serial port and we are having, there are 2 lines, okay, in order to transmit or receive the data, right? One is for transmission, one is for reception. Okay, now microprocessor wants to transfer the data, okay, serially. And what is the data is, actually I want to transfer the data 25. Okay, so 25 means 0010 and 0101. Okay, this is your 25. I want to transfer the data. Now how many bit processor it is? 8-bit. So that means your 8-bit microcontroller. That means it can directly perform operations directly on 8-bit numbers. Take an example, for one clock cycle, it can able to directly perform operations on 8-bit numbers. But what is meant by serial communication? Serial communication means we are sending the data in the form of bit by bit. We are not sending 8 bits at a time. We are sending only data bit by bit. So that means we are using only one clock cycle to send only 1 bit. Understood my point? But the processor is operating 8 bits at a time in one clock cycle. So that means which is faster processing? The processor is faster. Now you want to tell the processor, please be slow. I want to send the data bit by bit. Now what the processor will think about you? You idiot, how you are making slow, because I am working fast, but you want to me work as a slow processor. Okay, so to avoid this, okay, we are to avoid this, we are having a register called SBUF. Okay, serial buffer. Now what this will do is, whenever the processor wants to send the data 25, now the processor wants to send the data 25, so that 25 is converted into 001000. I am sure you know this one, right? Now when the processor wants to send the data, it will just it will put that 25 into the SBUF. So SBUF is your 8-bit register. Okay, now after giving the data to the SBUF, okay, now the processor will disconnect with the SBUF. Okay, earlier the processor, what it will do, it wants to transfer the data 25. Instead of transmitting by the processor, it is telling that please take my data and to the SBUF. So SBUF will receive the data 25. Okay, now the SBUF, what it will do is, it will transfer the data bit by bit. Okay, whenever SBUF is taking care of the transmission, what is the need of the processor there? That means processor is free to do the other operations. With the help of SBUF, I am making the processor free to do the other operations. That means I am making the processor work again faster. Okay, who is transmitting the data? Not the processor. SBUF is transmitting the data bit by bit. Okay, who is wasting the clock cycles? SBUF, not the processor. Understood now? So that means I am making the processor faster, still I am sending the data bit by bit. Okay, who is taking care of? SBUF. Okay, now SBUF will transfer the data. Okay, the processor will give the data 25 to the SBUF. Now SBUF will transfer the data 25, right? So 001001. Okay, now there is a reception end. In the end, now whenever if you want to receive the data, I am having the receiver. Okay, now there is some thing you need to discuss about the SBUF. Now suppose after transmitting the 25, the processor wants to transfer the data, another data, some like 65. Now processor wants to transfer the data 65, right? Now the processor will give that 65 to the, that means it will put that 65 in the SBUF. When it will put? After successfully transmitting of the 25, right? The first byte transmitted, then you need to transfer the next byte. Now during the transmission of the first byte, if the processor will keep the 65 in this, what will happen? The first byte data gets lost. That means overridden, right? So that means what we need to do, the processor has to keep on checking. Are you free? Are you empty? Okay, so can I put the another byte of data? Okay, instead of checking, we are, so the processor in the time of checking, the processor is wasting its time. That's why what the SBUF will do is, it will give the interrupt. Okay, it will tell the processor, okay, after I have successfully completed my transmission of the first byte, that is your 25, you idiot processor, now you can able to give me the next byte of data to be transmitted. Okay, that means SBUF is telling the processor with the help of one signal called transmission interrupt. Okay, this is nothing but interrupt flag. So I'm told you, whenever there is any interrupt generated, there will be a flag bit, okay, which will automatically be 1. Okay, the processor sees this flag bit. Okay, if the flag bit is 1, that means the SBUF transferred the data successfully. Now the processor will start it will put the next byte of data in the SBUF. Now you understand, right? When the transmission interrupt flag will be 1, so the SBUF, after successfully transmission of the byte, the SBUF will interrupt the processor to get the next byte of data. Understood this much? Okay, now we'll go to the reception part. Now in reception part, I want to receive the data 35. Someone is sending the data. Who is sending? Aliens? Okay, aliens, okay, programmer. So programmers are sending the data. So that is your 35. Now the 35 will be received by the processor. Again, whenever if you take the serial communication, I'm using only one wire. One wire means I can able to receive either 1 or 0. That means single bit at a time. Now, will the processor be able to get the single bit one by one? Because the processor can able to receive the 8 bits at a time. But here I am receiving only one by one. So that's why there is a another SBUF register for the reception end. Now in the SBUF, whatever the data comes in the serial, this RxD line, that data will be accumulated here. That means 8 bits of data will be stored. And after receiving the data successfully, it will tell the processor, okay, the processor idiot, I have received the data. Now you can able to store that data in your registers or memory location, right? That means it has to tell the processor after successful of reception, it will generate the interrupt. Okay, again, just like your transmission interrupt, after successfully transmitting the data, SBUF will be able to interrupt the processor. That means I have completed the transmission successfully. Now you can send me the next byte of data. Now what the reception buffer will do, SBUF will do, after receiving the data successfully, it will tell the processor, that means I have received the data. Now you can able to get the next data. Okay, that means whenever I am receiving, again the processor is free to its operation, right? Now you are telling that why there are same names for the reception SBUF and transmission SBUF. You don't get any confusion. Why? Because if you take these instructions, move a comma SBUF, that means what I am doing here, I am putting the SBUF data into the register A. That means we are using transmission SBUF here. But in this point of time, I am getting the A data from here. That means I'm using here reception SBUF. So there is no confusion. But in physically, there are two different hardware devices. That is your transmission SBUF and reception SBUF. There are two different SBUFs are there physically. Okay, but then we are calling it as the same names, in the same names. Okay, now you understood, right? How we are getting the data serially, how we are sending the data parallelly. Okay, if you want to send the data parallelly, we are having other 4 ports: port 0, port 1, port 2, and port 3. It is nothing but your parallel ports. I'm sure you know that. So whenever if you want to send the 8 bits at a time, you can use these parallel ports. Whenever if you want to use it for serial communication, you will use the serial port. Okay, now I understood, right? What is the difference between serial ports and parallel ports? Okay. Now, oh my God, what is this skin? Now I will take one example. Whenever if you want to download a movie, okay, from the internet, okay, you are try to download it, but after 70 up to 79% or 80% it has downloaded. Now after that you got some network error. Now download has stopped. Okay, that means dismissed. Now you want to watch the up to 79% of the movie. When you try to open this one, you will get the movie or picture or video will like this. That means there will be a errors. Okay, there will be errors. Why? Because data has not downloaded successfully, or not getting the complete data. Similarly, can I able to get the errors here during the data transmission? Yes. When I will get the data? During the transmission or reception. During the transmission, if you are saying how can you get the errors during the transmission without transmitting the data, how you will get the errors? No, that means we are getting the data during the reception. Okay, now during the reception, the data will be received by the SBUF. Now the SBUF has to check the errors, okay, whether the data is correct or not. That means it has to check the data validity. Now after this SBUF, reception SBUF is giving the data to the processor. When we need to check the errors? After giving the data to the processor or before giving the data to the processor? You tell me. Before giving the data to the processor. So if you are telling that if you are giving the data, wrong data to the processor, and you are telling the processor the data is wrong, please discard it. So it is not a good point, right? That's why before giving the data to the processor, the SBUF, the receiver SBUF will check the error. Is there any errors in the data or not? Okay. After checking the errors, then it can able to generate the reception interrupt, right? So we will get the data. Please concentrate here. We will get the data. Now the SBUF will check the data is valid or not. Okay, if the data is valid, then it will tell the processor, okay, the processor, I am getting the successful good data. There is no errors. Now you can able to take the data from my SBUF register. Okay, that means it is telling me with the help of one interrupt called receiver interrupt. Okay. And that's it about your SBUF. I'm sure you know this is what is the advantage of this SBUF, right? So which is making the processor free to do the other operations, and still we are using the serial communication. We are transferring the data bit by bit. Now the next part is your SCON. I told you in futures I am discussing one by one. Now I have completed what is the need of SBUF. Now I am going to tell about the SCON. Okay. In this class, I am going to tell about only few bits of this one. In the next class, I am going to explain in detail and about the other remaining bits. Now you can able to see this is the SCON register. SCON. The name itself indicates serial port control. Serial port control. And it is one of the special function registers. I am sure you know that there are 21 SFRs are there, 21 special function registers. Among one is your SCON, which is dedicatedly given for your serial port. So just like your timer TCON register, we are having SCON, serial port control, and it is bit addressable. What is meant by bit addressable? I can able to access the bits of this individual bits of this register individually, one by one. Okay. Now if you take the first bit, this is not, this is, if you take this bit, okay, TI, just now we have discussed the TI. When the TI will be 1, whenever if you want to transfer 1 byte of data, so each and every byte of data transmission, the SBUF will tell the processor, it will gives the transmission interrupt. Okay. The next one is RI. What is meant by RI? Receiver interrupt flag. So receiver interrupt means whenever after successfully receiving the data, okay, then the SBUF, receiver SBUF will tell the processor, okay, I have successfully received the data. Now one of the main points to be noted is the second point here, RI and TI. Okay, RI and TI you must and should clear by you. Okay, if you take your TCON, timer overflow flag, etc., automatically cleared. Okay, but here the transmission interrupt and receiver interrupt flags, we cannot able to. That means that these interrupt flags will not automatically clear. You need to clear. You need to explicitly you need to clear. Okay. So that is one point to be noted. This is about these 2 bits. The next 2 bits use a reception enable. What is my reception enable? Whenever if you want to disable the reception, then you can able to use these bits. Okay. Whenever reception enable bit is 1 means we can able to receive the data. If it is 0, we cannot able to receive the data. Right. The next one 2 bits is your serial mode control bits. Okay, serial mode selection bits. I'm sure you know that there are 4 modes of your timer. Similarly, we are also having 4 modes of your serial port. Okay, I will discuss these 4 modes and the remaining bits in the next class. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you are having any questions, you can ask me. Thanks for joining the class.